First lot, now arriving off Jim's boat. Second lot is not far behind.
Good evening, Fred.
Good evening, Mrs. Rodgers.
Is that the boat?
Yes, it is.
Oh dear, already? Have you remembered everything?
I believe so. Lemons, eggs, creams, tomatoes, butter, and slip soles. That's all.
That's right. All this work and no maids till morning. What am I going to do?
Oh, calm down, Ethel. Everything's shipshape now. Looks nice, don't it, Fred?
Well, looks nice enough to me, boss. The rich folks like places bare, it seems.
Well, rich folks is queer.
Indeed. He was a queer sort of gentleman that owned this island, wasn't it? I mean, spent a wicked lot of money on it, he did. And then what does he do? Goes and puts the whole thing up for sale.
Well, beats me why the Owens wanted to buy it living on an island.
Stop complaining, Ethel, and cut along to your... Take us up out to the kitchen. They'll be in now.
Making that steep excuse an excuse for a drink, I suppose, like some others do.
Oh, that'll be young Jim. I'll have to be getting along now. There are 2 young gentlemen arriving by car, I understand.
Remember, I shall want at least 8 pints and 5 loaves in the morning.
8 pints, 5 loaves. You got this.
Don't forget the oil for the engine, Fred. I ought to charge up or have the ledge running down.
Just left on the railway. I'll have to go across and get it. And I'll have to bring it across first thing tomorrow morning.
And give me hand with the luggage, will you?
You're right.
I forgot to give you the list of guests, Tom.
Thanks, old girl. Doesn't look like a very classy lot to me. Miss Claythorne. She'll probably be the secretary.
Well, I don't hold much with secretaries. They're worse than hospital nurses, always airing their good graces on us and looking down at the servants.
Oh, stop grousing, Ethel, and cut along to that lovely, up-to-date, expensive kitchen of yours.
Too many newfangled gadgets for my fancy.
So this is it?
How perfectly lovely.
Miss Claythorne.
Here, Rodgers.
Yes, good evening, miss.
Good evening, Rodgers. Will you bring up my luggage and Captain Lombard's?
Very good, miss.
So, you've been here before?
No, but I've heard a lot about the place.
From Mr. and Mrs. Owen?
No, an old pal of mine, Johnny Brewer. He built this place. It's a sad, poignant story.
A love story?
Oh yes, the saddest of all. You see, Johnny was a wealthy, old boy who fell in love with the famous Lily Logan. Married her and built this place for her.
Sounds most romantic.
Oh yes, but poor Johnny, he thought by bringing her here and cutting her off from the rest of the world, without even a telephone as a mean of communication, that he could hold her.
But of course, the fair Lily tired of her ivory tower and escaped.
Johnny went back to Wall Street and made a few more millions, and the place was sold.
And here we are. Well, I ought to find Mrs. Owen. The others will be up in a minute.
It would be awfully rude of you to leave me here all by myself.
Would it? Oh, well, I wonder where she is.
She'll come when she's ready. In the meantime, do you mind if I get myself a drink? I'm very dry.
Of course you could.
Certainly warm for that steep climb. Say, what's yours?
Oh, no thanks, not for me. Not on duty.
Good secretaries never off duty.
Really, this is exciting.
What's it?
All of this, the smell of the sea, the gulls, the beach, and this lovely house. I'm going to enjoy myself.
I think you are. I think we both are. Here's to you. You're lovely.
Where is Mrs. Owen?
Mr. and Mrs. Owen won't be down from London until tomorrow, miss. I thought you knew.
Tomorrow, but...
I got a list of all the guests expecting, miss, if you'd like to have it. The second boat was just arriving.
Thank you. How awful. Say, you will be sweet and help me, won't you?
I shan't move from your side.
Thank you. It seems silly to have brought only us in the first boat and all the rest in the second.
That, I'm afraid, was by design, not accident.
Design? What do you mean?
Well, I suggested to the boatman that there was no need to wait for any more passengers. That and 5 shillings soon started up the engine.
Oh, you shouldn't have done that.
Well, they're not very exciting lots, are they?
I thought the young man was rather nice looking.
Callow? Definitely callow. And very, very young.
I suppose you think a man in his 30s is more attractive?
I don't think, my darling. I know. Wizard place you've got here.
I'm Mrs. Owen's secretary. Mrs. Owen has been detained in London, I'm afraid, and won't be down until tomorrow.
Oh,
May I introduce Captain Lombard, Mr.
Marston. Anthony Marston. Have a drink, sir. Oh, thank you. We've got some gin, whiskey, sherry. I'll have a whiskey, I think.
Wonderful place you've got here.
I'm Mrs. Owen's secretary. Mrs. Owen has been detained in London, I'm afraid, and won't be down until tomorrow.
Say when?
Oh, wizard.
How are you?
How are you, Mr.
Davis. Davis is the name.
Mr. Davis, Mr. Marston? Have a drink, sir.
How are you, Mr. Marston? Pleased to meet you. Thanks, Captain Lombard. I don't mind if I do. Bit of a stiff climb up here, but whew, what a view and what a height. Reminds me of South Africa, this place.
Does it? Which part?
Oh, Natal, Durban.
Really?
Well, here's the temperance. Do you, know South Africa?
Me? No.
That's where I'm from. That's my natal state.
Interesting country, I should think.
Oh, finest country in the world, sir. Gold, silver, diamonds, oranges. It's about everything a man could want. Talk about a land flowing with pain and skittles.
Oh, how do you do?
General MacKenzie, isn't it? I'm Mrs. Owen's secretary. Mrs. Owen has been detained in London, I'm afraid, and won't be down until tomorrow. May I introduce Captain Lombard, Mr. Marston, and Mr.
Davis. Davis is the name.
Whiskey and soda, sir.
Thanks, son. You in the service?
Formerly in the King's African Rifles. 210 for me in peacetime, though. Chucked it.
Now, pity, when?
Where is Mrs. Owen? Miss Brent, isn't it? I'm Mrs. Owen's secretary. Mrs. Owen has been detained in London, I'm afraid, and
Won't be down until tomorrow.
Indeed, extraordinary. Did she miss the train?
I expect so. Won't you have something? May I introduce Captain Lombard, General MacKenzie, Mr. Marston. I think you all know the boat. Oh, and Mr.
Davis. Davis is the name. Say, may I take your case?
Please let me get you a drink. A dry martini, whiskey and soda, sherry.
I never touch alcohol.
You've never touched alcohol.
I suppose you know, young man, that you left us standing out there on the wharf.
I'm afraid, Miss Brent, I was to blame for that. You see, I wanted...
It seems to me most extraordinary that Mrs. Owen should not be here to receive her guests.
Perhaps she's the kind of person who just can't help missing trains.
That's what I reckon she is.
Not at all. Mrs. Owen isn't the least like that.
Perhaps it was her husband's fault.
She hasn't got a husband. I should like to go to my room.
Yes, I'll take you there.
You'll find Miss Rodgers upstairs.
Show she in the room. I'm afraid our host and hostess haven't arrived. My name's Lombard.
Mine's Wargrave. How do you do?
How do you do, sir? Have a drink, sir.
Yes, please. A whiskey.
How are you, Davis? Davis is the name. I say, wonderful place you've got here. Quite unique.
As you say, it's quite unique.
Your drink, sir?
Say, old Badger Berkeley rolled up yet? Who? Badger Berkeley. He roped me in for the show. When's he coming?
I didn't see a Badger Berkeley on the list. Nobody by that name.
The dirty old double-crosser! He's let me down! Well, it's a pretty wizard island. Rather, a wizard girl, that secretary. She ought to liven things up a bit. I say, old man, what about dressing for dinner if there's time?
Let's go and explore.
How, wizard?
Things are a bit at 6 and 7s with the Owens not turning up.
Tricky, what? I say, wizard place for a holiday, what?
Well, aren't you going to sit down?
Well, tell you the truth, you seem to be sitting in my chair.
My apologies. I did not realize you were one of the family.
It's not that exactly. Tell you the truth, I've been a baby report. Sailor of the Benton Club. Have for the last 10 years. My seat is just about there. Can't keep sitting anywhere else.
It becomes a bit of a habit.
Yes, it certainly does. Now, thank you. It's not quite as good as a club, but it's a nice chair. Tell you the truth, I was a bit surprised when I got this invitation. I haven't been anything of the kind for well over 4 years. Very nice of my thought.
We have your keys, sir.
Is Lady Constance Collington expecting here? Can you tell me?
Lady Constance Collington? I don't think so, sir. But she's coming down with Mr. and Mrs. Owen. Allow me, sir. Can I have your keys, sir?
No thanks, I'll pack for myself.
Dinner's at 8 o'clock, sir. Shall I show you to your room?
Please.
Here it is, sir. Though some might call it bare, as I do. I think you'll find it quite to be like your own home. Feel free to help yourself to any beverages. Let me take your bags for you. You're welcome.
How are you, Davis? Davis is the name.
Mine's Armstrong.
Dr. Armstrong, I believe?
Yes.
Thought so. Never forgot the face.
I kind of forgot one of my patients.
Oh, no, not like that. I once saw you in court giving expert advice.
Really? Are you just in law?
Well, you see, I'm from South Africa. Naturally, legal processes in this country are bound to interest the colonial.
I see.
Have a drink?
No, thanks. I never touch it.
Do you mind if I do? Mine's empty.
I don't know.
I've been having a look around the island. Wonderful place, isn't it?
It's wonderful. I thought I saw coming across the island. What a haven of peace this was.
Too peaceful for some, I dare say.
Wonderfully restful. Wonderful for the nerves. I'm a nerve specialist, you know.
Oh, I know that. Did you come down by train?
No, I motored down. Dropped down on a patient on the way here. Great improvement. Wonderful response.
Best part of 200 miles, isn't it? How long did it take you?
I didn't hurry. I never hurry. It's bad for the nerves. Some manless young fellow Neely drove me into a ditch in Amesbury. I'd like to have had his number.
Oh. And if only more people would take a number on these young road hogs.
Yes, you must excuse me. I must see Mr. Owen.
Oh, but Mr. Owen isn't coming down.
You rang, sir.
Yes, take my hat, will you? What time's supper?
Dinner's at 8 o'clock, sir. In a quarter of an hour. I think tonight dressing will be optional.
Got a good place here.
Yes, thank you, sir.
Been here long?
Just under a week, sir.
Is that all? So I don't suppose you know much about this crowd that's here?
No, sir.
All old friends of the family?
I really couldn't say, sir.
Oh, oh, Rodgers?
Yes, sir?
Rodgers. Do you think you could put some sandwiches and a bottle of beer in my room tonight? I get an hell of an appetite with this here sea air.
I'll see what I can do, sir.
You know, Rodgers, I'll see you won't lose me by. Where's my room?
I'll show you, sir.
Good. I could use with the wash and brush up straight away.
Oh, there you are, Rodgers. Oh my gosh, you ought to clean these dirty glasses. You're always leaving the dirty work to me. Here I am with a 4-course meal in my hands and no one here to help me. You want to come down and help me with the dishing up. Who was that you were talking to, by the way?
Davis. South African gentleman. No class if you ask me, and no money either.
Well, I don't like any of them much. Reminds me of that old lot we had back on the boarding house.
Davis gives out his imperial or something. You should see his underwear, as cheap as they make them.
Well, as I said, it's not treating us right. All these guests and no maids till morning, I mean, what do they think we are?
Now then. Anyway, the money's good.
So it ought to be catch me going into service again unless the money was good.
Well, it is good. So what are you going on about?
I can tell you this, Rodgers, I'm not staying any place I'm put upon. The kitchen's my place, and I'm a good cook.
First rate, old girl.
I'm a good cook, and housework is none of my business. I should have a good enough mind to get my hat and coat and go straight back to Plymouth.
You can't do that, old girl.
Why not? Who says I can? I would love to know.
Because we're on an island, old girl. Had you forgotten that?
Yes, and I don't know as I fancy being on an island.
Don't know that I do either, come to that. No slipping down to a pub, going to the pictures. Oh well, it's double wages on account of difficulties. There's plenty of beer in the house.
It's all you ever think about is beer.
Now, stop your nagging. You get back to the kitchen, your dinner will get spoiled.
It'll be spoiled anyway, I expect. Everybody's going to be late. Wasted on them anyway. Thank goodness I didn't make a souffle. Oh, dinner won't be a minute, miss. Just a question of, dishing up.
Is everything all right, Rodgers? Can you manage between the two of you?
Yes, thank you, miss. The missus talks a lot, but she gets it done.
What a lovely evening. Yes, indeed. The weather seems very cold. How plainly one can hear the sea. A pleasant sound. Hardly a breath of wind, and deliciously warm. Not like England at all. I should have thought you might feel a little uncomfortable in that dress. Oh, no. Well, it's a little tight, isn't it? I don't think so. You'll excuse me, my dear, but you're a young girl and you've got your living to earn. Yes. A well-bred woman doesn't like her secretary to appear flashy. It looks as though you were trying to attract the attention of the opposite sex.
And would you say I do attract them?
But that's besides the point. A girl deliberately sets out to get the attention of men won't be likely to keep her job long.
Surely that depends on who she's working.
Really, Miss Claythorne?
Aren't you being a little unkind?
Young people nowadays behave in the most disgusting fashion.
Disgusting?
Yes, the low-backed evening dresses, lying half-naked on beaches, all this so-called sunbathing, an excuse for immodest conduct, nothing more. Familiarity, Christian names, drinking cocktails. And look at the young men nowadays. Decadent. Look at that young Marston. What good is he? And that Captain Lombard.
And what do you object to in Captain Lombard? I should say he was a man who led a very varied and interesting life.
The man's an adventurer. All this younger generation is no good at all.
You don't like youth, I see.
What do you mean?
I was just remarking that you don't like young people.
And is there a reason why I should, pray?
Well, no, but it seems to me you must miss an awful lot.
You're very impertinent.
I'm sorry, but that's just what I think.
The world will never improve until we stomp out immodesty.
Quite pathological.
What did you say?
Nothing.
And what about the old boy?
He looks rather like a tortoise, doesn't he?
Oh, all judges look like tortoises. They have that venomous way of darting their heads in and out. Mr. Justice Wargrave is no exception.
I hadn't realized he was a judge.
Oh yes, he's probably responsible for more deaths than anyone in England.
I see.
Ah, hello, you. Have you two met? Dr. Armstrong and Miss Claythorne. We've just decided that the old boy looks rather like...
Yes, I heard you, and so did he, I think.
Oh, Sir Lawrence.
Miss Brent.
There's something I wanted to ask you. Come out here.
It's a remarkably fine night, isn't it?
Absolutely wizard car. A supercharged sports Arletti Carlotta. You don't see many of them on the road. I can get over 100 out of her.
Did you come from London?
Yes, 208 or so miles, and I did it in a bit over 4 hours. Too many cars on the road to keep it up. Such 9 going over Salisbury Plain. Not too bad, eh?
I think you passed me on the road.
Oh, yes?
You nearly drove me into a ditch.
Did I? Sorry.
If I'd seen your number, I'd have warned you.
But you were footing along in the middle of the road.
Footling. Me! Footling!
Gentlemen. What do we say to a drink?
Good idea. Will you have one, Miss Claythorne?
No, thank you.
Good evening, Mrs. Owen.
Why, Mrs. Owen?
Well, you'd make the most attractive wife for any wealthy businessman.
Do you always flirt so outrageously?
Always.
Oh, well, now we know.
Say, what do you think Miss Brent was trying to talk to the judge about upstairs? She buttonholed him up there.
I don't know. Honey, she seemed so definite there wasn't a Mr. Owen.
Do you think that maybe, that there isn't, that they aren't?
What, married, you mean?
Damn shame we don't know each other. I could have given you a lift down.
Yes, that would have been grand.
I'd like to show you what I can do across Salisbury Plain. Tell you what, maybe we can drive back together.
Oh, but
But it seems damn silly. I've got an empty car.
Yes, but she likes the way she's going back.
Look, aren't they sweet? Oh, those 10 little China soldiers. And the old nursery rhyme.
What soldiers, what rhyme, what are you talking about?
10 little soldier boys going out to dine. One choked himself, and then there were 9. 9 little soldier boys sat up very late. One overslept himself, and then there were 8.
8 little soldier boys traveling in Devon. One got left behind, and then there were...
Ladies and gentlemen, silence please. You are charged with these indictments, and you did respectively and at diverse times commit the following. Edward Armstrong, that you did cause the death of Louisa Mary Speed. William Henry Blore, that you brought about the death of James Stephen Landor. Emily Carolyn Brent, that you are responsible for the death of one Beatrice Taylor. Vera Elizabeth Claythorne, that you killed Peter Ogilvy Hamilton. Phillip Lombard, that you were guilty of the deaths of over 21 men, members of an East African tribe. John Gordon MacKenzie, that you sent your wife's lover, Arthur Richmond, to his death. Anthony James Marston, that you were guilty of the murder of John and Lucy Bones. Thomas Rodgers and Ethel Rodgers, that you brought about the death of Miss Jennifer Brady. Lawrence John Wargrave,
that?
What's that? Where did that voice come from?
What could that have been? Mrs.
Hold on, Miss Rodgers! Miss Rodgers. Miss Rodgers. She'll be alright. Just an acetone. Brandy! Get some brandy!
Rodgers, get some brandy.
Who was that speaking? It sounded...
What kind of sick practical joke was that? Where did the devil did that voice come from? Ah, here it is.
You are charged with these indictments.
Turn it off! Turn it off! It's horrible!
A disgusting and harmless practical joke!
So you think it's a joke, do you?
What else could it be?
But at the moment you're not prepared to give an opinion. Who the devil turned it on though? And set it going? We must inquire into that.
Oh dear me, oh dear me.
It's all right, Miss Rodgers, just an acetone.
Allow me, sir, if I speak to her. Ethel, it's all right. All right, do you hear me? Pull yourself together.
Did I faint, sir?
Yes. Drink this.
It was that voice, that awful voice like the judgment. It just gave me a turn, that's all.
Of course it did. Gave me a turn too. I'd like to know we could
Rodgers,
find.
who was it that put the record on the gramophone? Was it you?
I was just following orders, sir.
Whose orders?
Mr. Owens.
Let me get this quite clear. Mr. Owen's orders were what exactly?
I was to put a record on the gramophone in the study. I find the record in the drawer in there. I was to start with that one, sir. Thought it was just a piece of music.
Very remarkable story.
It's the truth, sir. Before heaven, it's the truth. I didn't know what it was, not for a moment. It had a name on it. I thought it was just a piece of music.
Has it got a title? Title?
Yes, it's entitled Swan Song.
This is preposterous, preposterous. Slinging around accusations about like this? Something must be done about it. This fellow Owen, whoever he is.
That's just it. Who is he?
That's exactly what we must go into very carefully. Now, Rodgers, you just get your wife to bed, then come back here.
Yes, sir.
Here, let me give you a hand.
Will she be all right, Doctor?
Yes, quite all right.
Don't know about you, sir, but I feel I need another drink.
I agree.
I'll get that. Whiskey for you, Sir Lawrence?
I should like a glass of water. Yes, I'll get it. I'll have a little whiskey too.
She'll be right. I've given her a sedative.
Now then, Doctor, suppose you'll be wanting a drink afterwards.
No, thanks, I never touch it.
Oh, so you say. You'll have this one, General?
Now, Rodgers, we must get to the bottom of this. Tell us what you know about Mr. Owen.
Mr. and Mrs. Owen, they own this place, sir.
Well, I'm aware of that fact, but what do you know yourself about the man?
I can't say, sir. You see, I've never seen him.
What do you mean you've never seen him?
We've only been here under a week, sir. Oh, and I. We were engaged by letter through a registry office, the Regina, in Plymouth.
That's a high-class firm. You can check on that.
Have you got the letter?
They're engaging us. Yes, sir.
Go on.
We arrived here like the letter said, on the 4th. Everything was in order. Plenty of food in stock and everything was nice. Just needed dusting of that.
Anything else?
Nothing, sir. Nothing at all. That is, we got orders to prepare the rooms for a house party. 8. Then yesterday, by the afternoon, we received another letter saying Mr. and Mrs. Owen might be detained. And if so, we were to do the best we could. And he gave instructions about dinner and putting on the gramophone record.
It is Ritz Hotel, typed.
Coronation machine number 5. Quite new. No defects in sign papers, most commonly. We shan't get much out of this. We should try for fingerprints, but it's been handled too much.
Quite a little detective. Got some fancy Christian names, hasn't he? Eulick Norman Owen. Quite a mouthful.
I'm obliged to you, Mr. Marston. You've brought my attention to a very curious and suggestive point. Now, I think the time has come for all of us to pool our information. We've all been summoned here by an unknown host, and I think it's time to share exactly how that came about.
There is something very peculiar about all this. I received a letter with a signature that's not very easy to read. It purported to be from a woman whom I met at a certain summer resort 2 or 3 years ago. I took the name to be Ogden. I'm quite certain I've never met or become familiar with anyone of the name Owen.
Have you got the letter?
Yes, I can fetch it for you.
Miss Claythorne?
I never actually met Mrs. Owen. I wanted a holiday post and applied to a secretarial agency. Miss Brent was in London. I was offered this post and accepted.
You never had any interview with your prospective employer?
No, this is the letter.
Soldier Island, Sticklehaven, Devon. I have received your name from Miss Grenfell's agency. We require your services. We shall pay you whatever you ask. I suggest August 8th, and you should take the train from 1240 Paddington to Oakridge. I enclose £5 for your expenses. Signed, Una Nancy Owen.
Mr. Marston, don't actually know the Owens. Got a wire from a pal of mine, Butterberg. Told me to roll up here. Surprised me a bit, because I had an idea the old horse had gone to Norway. I haven't got the wire.
Thank you. Dr. Armstrong?
Well, in the circumstances, I must admit that my visit here was professional. Mr. Olin wrote to me that he had concerns over his wife's health. Her nerves were precise. He had wanted a report without her being alarmed. Therefore, he suggested my visit here consider that as a guest.
So you had previous relations with them? No. But you had no problem obeying the summons?
A colleague of mine was mentioned, and a very handsome fee was suggested. I was due for a holiday anyway.
Dear Miss Brent, I do hope you remember me. We were together at Belhaven Guest House in August some years ago, and we seem to have so much in common. I'm starting a guest house of my own on an island off the coast of Devon. I think there was really an opening for a place where there was good, plain English cooking, and a nice, old-fashioned type of person. None of this nudity and gramophone stuff now. I shall be very glad if you could see your way to spending your summer holiday on Soldier Island as my guest, of course. I suggest August 8th, 1240 from Paddington to Oakridge. Yours sincerely, you. The signature is slightly ambiguous.
I like the nudity touch.
Here is my own letter, written from good friend Lady Constance Cummings. She writes in her usual incoherent and unusual ways and urges me to join her on this island, and refers to the hosts in the vaguest of terms.
Look here, I thought of something.
Not now.
But
I would prefer if we took things one step at a time, Mr. Lombard. Colonel MacKenzie?
Got a letter from Phillip and Owen. Thought men in the club. Mentioned a few of my cronies would be here. I thought I'd go and excuse some informal information. Haven't kept the letter high on the third.
Thank you. And you, Captain Lombard?
Same sort of thing. Letter mentioning a mutual friend. Haven't kept it either.
Just now, we had a somewhat disturbing experience. Somewhat disembodied voice spoke to us all by name and made certain definite accusations. Amongst these names listed was that of William Henry Blore. There is no one named William Henry Blore amongst us. The name Davis was not mentioned. What do you have to say about that, Mr. Davis?
Cat's out the bag, it seems. I'll be the first to admit my name isn't Davis.
You're William Henry Blore.
That's right.
I have something to add. Not only are you here under a false name, Mr. Blore, but I've also noticed this evening that you're a first-class liar. You claim to be from Natal, South Africa, but I know South Africa and Natal quite well, and I'm prepared to say you've never stepped foot there in your life.
You gentlemen have got me wrong. I'm an HCID man.
Oh, great, a copper.
I've got my credentials, and I can prove it. I run a detective agency down in Plymouth. I was put onto this job.
By whom?
Why, Mr. Owen. Some very nice money order for expenses. And said I was to go to this house party, posing as a guest. He also gave me a list of all your names, and said I was to keep an eye on you all.
Any particular reason given?
Said Mrs. Owen had some valuable jewels. Mrs. Owen lied for it. I don't believe such person exists.
I think your conclusions are justified. Hewlett, Norman, Owen, Una, Nancy, Owen. Each time there is to say U-N Owen. Or, by expression of fancy, unknown.
That's fantastic. Mad.
Yes, I do believe you've been brought here by a madman, probably a dangerous homicidal lunatic.
Oh my god.
Amongst his invitations, he has made certain amount of research about it. A very great deal of research. He has made certain definite accusations.
We cannot
I wish to say this. He accuses me of the murder of one Edward Seaton. I remember Seaton perfectly well. He came before me for a trial in June of 1930. He was accused of the murder of an elderly woman. He was very ably defended and made a good impression on the witness box. However, on the evidence, he was certainly guilty. Summed up accordingly, and the jury brought back the verdict of guilty. In passing sentence of death, he was duly executed. I wish to say this. I did my duty and nothing more. I passed sentence on a rightfully convicted murder.
Did you know Seaton at all? I mean, personally.
I knew nothing of Seaton previous to the trial.
The old boy's lying. I swear it.
Fellow's a madman, absolute madman. Got a bee in his body. Got hold of the short end of the stick all around. Best to leave this sort of thing unanswered. However, I feel I have to say no truth whatsoever in the matter of young Arthur Richmond. Richmond was one of my officers. Sent him on reconnaissance in 1917. He was killed. Fair to say, very much, absolutely, slur my wife, best woman in the world, been dead a long time. Caesar's wife.
I've just been thinking. John and Lucy Combs must have been a couple of kids I ran over near Cambridge. Beastly bad luck.
For them or for you?
Well, I was thinking for me. But of course, sir, you're right. It was damn bad luck for them too. Of course, it was pure accident. They rushed out of some cottage or other. I got my license suspended for a year. Beastly nuisance.
No. Young men like you are a danger to this community.
I couldn't help it. It's just an accident.
I say a word, sir.
Go ahead, Rodgers.
There was a mention of me and Mrs. Rodgers and of Miss Jennifer Brady. There isn't a word of truth in it. You were with Miss Brady when she died. She was always in poor health, sir, from the time we came to her. There was a storm, sir. The night she died. We couldn't get the doctor to her. I ran for him, sir, on foot. He got there too late. We did everything possible for her, sir. Devoted to her we were. Anyone will tell you the same. There was never a word said against us. Never a word.
You came into a nice little something out of death, I suppose.
Didn't you? Miss Brady left us a legacy in recognition for our faithful service. Why not? I'd like to know.
And what about yourself, Mr. Blore?
Well, what about me?
Your name was on the list?
Oh, landlord, you mean, right? That was the London and Commercial Bank robbery.
I remember that case. You were the officer in charge of it, weren't you?
I was one.
He's a very desperate man. He got penal servitude and died in Dartmouth a year later.
He was a crook. It was him put the night watchman out. The case was clear from the start.
You were complimented on your able handling of the case.
I got my promotion. I was only doing my duty.
Convenient word, duty. And what about yourself, Doctor?
I failed to understand the name. What was it? Close. I really don't remember the name he connected to me in any way. It's a complete mystery to me. Of course, it was a long time ago. It might have been one of the operations cases in the hospital. So many of these people come in too late. Therefore, when the patient dies, it's always the surgeon's fault.
Of course, some give up surgery altogether, take up nerve cases. Others give up drink.
I protest. You know right to insinuate such things. I never touched alcohol.
I never said that you did. Anyways, Mr. Unknown is the only one who knows all the facts.
Miss Claythorne?
I was nursery governess to Peter Hamilton. We were in Cornwall for the summer. He was forbidden to swim out far. One day, when my attention was distracted, he started off. As soon as I saw what happened, I swam after him, but I couldn't get there in time.
Was there an inquest?
Yes, I was exonerated by the coroner. His mother didn't blame me either.
Thank you. Miss Brent?
I have nothing to say.
Nothing?
Nothing.
You wish to reserve your defense?
There is no question of defense. I have always acted according to the dictates of my conscience.
What a law-abiding lot we all seem to be. Minus myself, of course.
We are all waiting to hear your story. Lombard?
That's the thing. Haven't got the story. What that record said was perfectly true. I left those natives to die in the brush simply a matter of self-preservation, that's all.
You abandoned your men?
Not quite the act of a proper gentleman, I'm afraid, but hey, self-preservation is a man's first duty, after all. And besides, the natives don't mind dying. Not the way us Europeans do.
Our inquiry rests there. But now, brothers, is there anyone else on this island besides us?
Nobody, sir. Nobody at all.
Well, I think it would be wise if we left here as soon as possible. I'm not sure our host is sane in the acceptable sense of the word. We should leave here tonight.
You'll pardon me, sir, but there's no boat on the island.
No boat at all?
No, sir.
Telephones and mainland.
There's no telephone, sir. My Narracott, he comes over every morning. He brings the milk, the bread, the post, and papers, and takes the orders.
And we should leave tomorrow morning.
A bit unsporty, what? ought to ferret out the mystery before we go. Whole thing's like a detective story. Positively thrilling.
With my token life, I've no desire for thrills.
The legal life's narrowing. That's why I'm all for thrive. Here's to it.
Are you okay? Breathe.
My God, he's dead!
What do you mean dead? Fella just choked and he died?
You could call it choking if you like. He died of asphyxiation, right enough.
Don't fella die like that. Just a choking fit.
In the middle of life, we are in death.
General MacKenzie, a man isn't dying when you're choking. Marston's death is what we call a natural death.
Was there something in the whiskey?
Yes, by the smell of it, cyanide.
He must have put it in there himself.
Suicide, eh? That's a wrong go.
You'd never think he'd commit suicide. He was so alive. He was enjoying himself. Oh, look. Here's one of the little soldiers off the mantelpiece. Broken.
We've been up to the top. There's no sign of that boat anywhere.
It's very early still.
Oh, I know. Still, the fellow brings the milk and the bread and all that. I should have known he had gotten here before all this. No sign of any breakfast. Where's that fellow Rodgers?
Oh, don't let's bother about breakfast.
I wish that boat would come. It's absurd not to keep a boat on the island. The sooner we get off this island, the better.
No proper harbor. If the wind blows from the southeast, a boat would get dashed to pieces against the rocks.
Our boat would always be able to take us from the mainland.
No, Miss Brent, that's just what it wouldn't.
Do you mean we should be cut off from the land?
Why, yes. Condensed milk, riveter, and tin stuff till the gale has blown itself out. But you needn't worry. The sea's only a bit choppy.
I think the pleasures of living on an island are rather overrated.
I wonder if that boat's coming. Annoying how the house is built stuff up against a cliff like this. Can't see anything until we got to the mainland. Shall we go up there again?
It's no good, Doctor. A watch pot never boils. Besides, there was no sign of a boat putting out when we were up there just now.
What can this thing Narracott be doing?
We're all like that in Devon. Never hurry yourselves.
Where's Rodgers? He ought to be about.
If you ask me, Master Rodgers seemed pretty badly routed last night.
Yes, I know. Gassing the whole thing.
Got the wind up properly. I take an even bet that he and his wife did do that old lady in.
Fantastic. The whole thing fantastic.
I say, suppose he's not dead.
Who? Rodgers? But there's no boat on the island.
Well,
You just said so.
I've been thinking. We've only Rodgers' word for it. Suppose there is one he's nipped off on it the first day.
Oh, he wouldn't be allowed to leave the island.
Sleep well, General?
Yes, I dreamed.
I don't wonder at that.
I dreamed of Leslie, my wife, you know.
Oh, yes. Who's that Narracott?
Who is Narracott?
The bloke who brought us over yesterday afternoon.
Was it only yesterday?
Yes, I feel that way too. Fatty gramophone records, suicides, it's about all the man can stand. I shan't be sorry to see the back of Soldier Island. I give you my word.
So you don't understand. How strange.
What's that, General?
Blore. I don't like the look of him.
I reckon your Marston's suicide must have come as a pretty bad shock to him. He seems years older.
Yes, where is the young fellow now?
In the study. Put him there myself.
Dr. Armstrong, I suppose it was suicide?
What else could it be?
I don't know, but suicide...
Well, I had a pretty funny feeling last night. This Mr. Unknown. Suppose he's on the island. Rodgers may know, or he may have told him not to say so. It's a pretty nasty feeling if I say so myself.
But would it have been possible to tamper with Marston's drink without seeing him?
Well, it was just standing up there. Anyone could have slipped a dollop of cyanide if they wanted to.
But that doesn't...
There you are, sir. I've been all over the place looking for you. Can I come up and have a look at my wife?
Yes, is she still feeling under the weather?
She's...
You won't leave the island without me.
Oh, I wish the boat would come. I hate this place.
Yes, I think the sooner we can get in contact with the police, the better.
The police?
Yes, the police must be notified in case of a suicide, Miss Claythorne.
Yes, of course.
What's going on here? No sign of any breakfast.
Are you hungry, General? Feeling like breakfast?
Leslie, my dear.
No, I'm Vera Claythorne.
Forgive me, I must have taken you for my wife.
Oh,
I'm waiting for her, you see?
I thought your wife was dead long ago.
I thought so too. That was wrong. She's here, on this island.
Good morning. Good morning, Captain Lombard.
Morning. Is the boat here yet?
No.
Bit late, isn't it?
Yes.
Good morning. You know, you and I could have went for a swim. Too bad I missed.
Too bad you overslept yourself.
You must have good nerves to sleep like that.
Nothing makes me lose sleep.
Didn't dream of any African natives by any chance, did you?
No. Dream of any convicts in Dartmoor.
Look here, I don't think that's very funny.
Well, you started. Anyways, I'm hungry. Where's breakfast?
The whole domestic staff seems to have gone on strike.
Oh, great. We'll have to forage for ourselves then.
Hello, that's strange.
What's it?
You remember we found one of these little fellows smashed last night?
Yes, that's ought to leave 9.
That ought to leave 9. I'm certain there were 10 of them here when we arrived. There are only 8.
Strange.
I think it's queer, don't you?
Probably just 9 to begin with. We assumed 8 because of the nursery rhyme. Ah, good morning, Doctor. What seems to be the matter?
I thought Rodgers was dead.
No!
No!
Died in her sleep. Mr. Rodgers thought she was still under the effect of the sleeping draught I gave her and went out without disturbing her. He lit the kitchen fire into this room. Then as she hadn't appeared, he went up, was concerned by the look of her, and went hunting for me. She's been dead about 5 hours, I should say.
What was it, Hart?
Impossible to say. It may happen.
After all, she did have a pretty bad shock last night.
Yes.
She might have been poisoned, you suppose, Doctor.
She very well could have been.
The same stuff as young Marston.
No, not cyanide. It would have had to be one of the narcotics or hypnotics. One of the barbiturates or chloral, something like that.
You gave her some sleeping powders last night, didn't you?
I gave her a mild dose of luminol. Yes.
Didn't give her too much, did you?
Certainly not. What do you mean?
All right. No offense. I just thought that if she had had a weak heart.
The amount I gave her could not have hurt anyone.
Then what did happen?
It's impossible to say with an autopsy.
Well, if this occurred in the case of one of your private patients, what would have been your procedure?
Oh, without more extensive knowledge of a woman's state of health, I could certainly not give her a certificate.
She was a very nervous-looking creature. She had a bad fright last night. Perhaps it was heart failure.
Her heart certainly failed to beat, but what caused it to fail?
Conscience.
What exactly do you mean by that, Miss Brent?
You all heard. She was accused, together with her husband, of having deliberately murdered her former employer, an old lady.
You believe that's true, Miss Brent?
Certainly, you all saw her last night. She broke down completely and fainted. The shock of having her wickedness brought to her was too much. She literally died of shock.
It's impossible, dearie. One cannot adopt it with more extensive knowledge of the woman's state of health. If there was a latent cardiac
Call
weakness...
it if you prefer an act of God.
Oh, no, Miss
You regard it as impossible that a sinner should be struck down by the wrath of God. I do not.
And in my experience of ill-doing, providence leaves the work of chastisement to us mortals. And the prophet is often fraught with difficulties. There are no shortcuts.
Let's be practical. What did the woman have to eat and drink after she went to bed last night?
Nothing.
Nothing at all. Not a cup of tea or a glass of water.
Rodgers assures me she had nothing whatsoever.
You might say so.
That's what you think?
Why not? You heard the accusations last night. What if they're true? Miss Brent thinks it is for once. Rodgers and his missus did leave that old lady in. They're feeling quite safe and happy about it.
Happy?
Well, they know there's no immediate danger to them. Then last night, some lunatic goes and spills the beans. What happens? It's the woman cracks. Goes to pieces. Did you see him hanging around her when she was coming to? Not a husbandly solicitude? Not on your sweet life? He was like cat on hot bricks. And that's the position. They've done a murder and gotten away with it. If it's all going to be raked up again now, it's the woman who will give the show away. She hadn't got the nerves to brazen herself out. She's a living danger to her husband, that's what she is. And him? He's all right. He'll go on lying till the cows come home. But he can't be sure. So what does he do? He drops a nice little dollop of something into a nice little cup of tea. And when she's had it, he washes up the cup and saucer, and he tells the doctor she ain't had nothing.
No, that's impossible. A man wouldn't do that. Not to his wife.
You'd be surprised, Miss Claythorne, what some husbands would do.
Excuse me, miss. I'm getting on with breakfast. Not much on the hand as a cook. Would cold tongue and gelatine be satisfactory? I could manage some fried potatoes and tinned fruits and cheese.
Yes, that will be fine, Rodgers.
Lunch? Lunch? We shan't be here for lunch. And when the hell's that boat coming?
Mr. Blore!
What?
You'll pardon me, sir. The boat will be coming.
What? What?
Fred Narracott, he's always here before 8. Is there anything else you're...
No, thank you, Rodgers.
And it isn't Rodgers? His wife's lying dead upstairs, and there he is, making breakfast and talking about lunch. Now he says the boat won't come? How the hell does he know?
Mr. Blore!
What?
Don't you see? He's dazed. He's just carrying on automatically as a good servant would. It's pathetic, really.
He's pulling a fast one, that's what he is.
And the real suspicious thing is the failure of the boat to arrive. It means we're being deliberately cut off from help.
Very little time, very little time.
What's that, General?
Oh, it's very little time. While some boys are talking of things that do not matter.
Why do you think it is Narracott hasn't turned up?
I suppose the ubiquitous Mr. Owen has orders.
Like, told him it's all some kind of practical joke or something of the kind.
He'd never have fallen for that.
Why not? Soldier Island's got a reputation for having crazy parties. It's just one more crazy idea. And he knows there's enough food and drink to last us the weekend. Probably all thinks it's some huge joke.
Can't we light a bonfire up on the top of the island so that they'd see it?
Probably been provided against. We're cut off, all right.
Well, can't we do something?
Yes, we can do something. We can find this funny fellow, Mr. Unknown Owen. I'll bet you something he's hiding on this island. And I'll tell you he's as mad as a hatter and as dangerous as a rattlesnake.
Hardly a good simile, Captain Lombard. It's the rattlesnake gives warning of its approach.
Warning. Oh my God. That's it! That is our warning. 10 little soldier boys. How does the rhyme go? 10 little soldier boys going out to dine. One choked himself. Marston choked himself, didn't he? Then 9 little soldier boys stayed up very late. One overslept himself. That part fits Mrs. Rodgers quite well.
You don't think... Do you mean he wants to kill us all?
Yes.
And each one fits with the rhyme.
No. It's impossible. It's coincidence. It must be coincidence.
There are only 8 little soldier boys left. I suppose that's coincidence too.
But there's nobody on the island.
That's what he wants us to think. We ought to search it. Armstrong, Blore, come with me. Let's go.
I'm ready. Does anyone have a revolver on them by any chance? I suppose that's too much to ask for.
I've got one.
Always carry that around with you.
I've been in some tight places, you know.
Oh, but you've never been in a more tighter place than you are today. If there's a homicidal maniac hiding here on the island, he'll probably have a whole arsenal, and he'll use it.
You may be wrong there, Blore. Many homicidal maniacs are quiet, unassuming people.
Delightful fellows.
You'd never guess there was anything wrong with them.
If Mr. Owen turns out to be one of that kind, we'll leave him be alone. How then? I suggest Captain Lombard searches the house while we do the island.
Ah, great, the house. Ought to be no sliding doors or secret panels.
Mind he doesn't get to you before you get to him.
Oh, I'll be fine. It's you two I'm worried about. Remember, one got left behind.
Come on, Armstrong.
Quite an energetic young man, that Captain Lombard.
Don't you think he's right? If there's someone hiding on the island, they'll be bound to find him. It's practically bare rock.
But I think this problem needs to be solved with brains rather than brawn.
Where are you going?
Going to go sit outside and think.
Where did I put that skein of wool? Did you leave it upstairs? Shall I go and see if I can find it?
No, that's okay. I'll go get it. I know where it's likely to be.
All right.
I'm glad Captain Lombard's got that revolver.
Wasting time. Wasting time.
You think so?
Yes, it's much better to sit and wait.
Wait for what?
For the end, of course. I wish I could find Leslie.
Your wife?
Yes, I wish you could have met her. She was so pretty, so gay.
Was she?
Loved her very much. Of course, I'm a lot older than she was. She was only 27. Richmond was 26. He was my ADC. Leslie liked him. They used to talk about music and plays together, and she teased him and made fun of him. I was quite pleased. I thought she took a motherly interest in the boy. Damn fool. No fool like another fool. He acted like a book, the way I found out. When I was out in France, she wrote a book to us. She put the letters in my envelope, so I knew.
Oh no.
It's alright, my dear. She was a very long time ago, but see, I loved her very much. I believed in her. It didn't say anything to her. And it grew inside me a slow, murderous rage. Damn dumb hypocrite! I liked the boy and I trusted him!
I wonder what the others are doing.
I sent him to his death.
Oh,
It's quite easy. Mistakes are being made all the time. All anyone can say is that lost my nerve a bit. Made a blunder. Sacrificed one of my best men. Yes, it was quite easy. Leslie never found out. I never told her I knew. Went on just as usual, but somehow nothing was ever quite real anymore. She died of pneumonia. She had a heart-shaped face and brown hair that curled.
oh don't.
Yes, I suppose it was murder. Curious murder. And always been such a law-abiding man and sort of said damn well right. That's what I thought, but you understand, don't you?
What do you mean?
Thought you'd understand. Thought you'd be glad too, that the end is coming.
Oh, well,
We're all going to die here.
oh, I don't.
You're very young. You haven't gotten to that yet. The relief, the blessed relief when you know that you've done with it all. You have it. Don't talk to me that way. You don't understand. I want to sit here and wait. Wait for Leslie to find me.
Oh, dear. Oh, I'm frightened.
All's correct. No secret passage and one course.
Oh, don't.
I say, you do look down. How's about a drink?
A drink. 2 corpses in the house at 9 o'clock in the morning, and all you say, have a drink? An old man going quite crackers, have a drink. 10 people accused of murder, that's all right, just have a drink. Everything's fine so long as you have a drink.
All right then, stay thirsty.
Oh, you're nothing but a waster, an adventurer. You make me tired.
I say, you're hat up, my sweet.
I'm not your sweet.
I'm sorry. I rather thought you were.
Well, you can think again.
You know, you and I, we need to stick together. We have something in common, you know. Rogues and murderers can't fall out.
Rogues and murderers.
All right, fine. You don't want to drink. You don't like the company of rogues and murderers. I'll go finish searching the house then.
Pleasant young man. I couldn't find him anywhere. Is anything the matter?
I'm worried about the general. He really is ill, I think.
Looking out for the boat, General? His sin has found him out.
Oh, don't!
One must face facts.
Can any of us afford to throw stones?
No. Even if his wife was no better than she should be, she must have been a depraved woman. He had no right to take judgment into his own hands.
And what about Beatrice Taylor?
Who?
That was the name, wasn't it?
You're referring to that absurd accusation about myself.
Yes, I am.
Well, now that we are alone, I have no objection to telling you the facts of the case. Indeed, I should like you to hear them. It's not a fit subject to discuss before gentlemen, so naturally I refuse to say anything. That girl, Beatrice Taylor, was in my service. I was very much deceived in her. She had clean manners, was nice and willing. Of course, all of that was the sheerest hypocrisy. She was a loose girl with no morals. Disgusting. It was some time before I found out that she was what they call in trouble.
What happened?
Well, naturally, I refused to keep her an hour under my roof. No one shall ever say I condoned immorality.
Did she drown herself?
Yes.
How old was she?
17.
Only 17?
Quite old enough to know how to behave. I told her what a low, depraved thing she was. I told her that she was beyond the pale and that no decent person would take her into their house. I told her her child would be branded all its life. I told her I felt soiled ever having her under my roof.
But you told a girl of 17 all that?
Yes, and I'm glad to say I broke her down utterly.
Poor little devil.
I have no patience for this indulgence towards sin.
And then I suppose you turned her out of the house?
Of course.
And she didn't dare go home. What did you feel like when you found out she drowned herself?
Feel like?
Yes. Didn't you blame yourself?
Of course not. I have nothing with which to reproach myself.
I believe you really feel that way. Makes it even more horrible.
That girl's unbalanced. The heathens are sunk in the pit that they made. In the net which they hid is their own foot taken. The Lord is known for the judgment he executeth. The wicked is snared in the work of his own hand.
Breakfast is ready.
Be quiet. The wicked shall be turned into hell.
Excuse me, miss. Do you know where the gentlemen are? Breakfast is ready.
Sir Lawrence Wargrave is sitting out there in the sun. Dr. Armstrong and Mr. Blore are searching the island. I shouldn't bother about them.
Thank you, miss.
Shall not the wounded cry at the sound of the fall? When the slaughter is made in the midst of thee,
Shall we go in?
I don't feel like eating. Then all the princes of the sea shall come down from their thrones, lay away their robes, and put off their embroidered garments. They shall sit and tremble, and be astonished at thee.
Reading aloud, Miss Brent.
It's my custom to read a portion of the Bible every day.
Very good habit, sure.
What luck did you have?
There's no cover on the island, no caves. No one could be hiding anywhere.
Oh, right. What about the house, Lombard?
There's nobody in this house besides us. I stake my life on it. I've checked from the attic to the cellar.
Breakfast is getting cold.
Breakfast? Blore, breakfast! You've been yelping about breakfast since we got up. Come on, everybody. Let's eat and drink and be merry. For tomorrow, we die!
You ought to be ashamed of such levity, Captain Lombard.
Come on, General. Can't have this. Breakfast. General! General? My God. One got left behind. There's a knife in MacKenzie's back! What? He's dead. He's dead!
But he can't be. Who could have done it? There's only us on the island.
Exactly! My dear sir, don't you realize that this clever and cunning criminal is always exactly one stage ahead of us? He knows exactly what we are going to do. He plans accordingly. Clever. There's only one place on this island where a successful murderer could hide and a reasonable chance of getting away with it.
One place?
Where? In this very room. Mr. Owen is one of us.
Sir Lawrence? Yeah. Mr. Blore. I want to get you alone. You were right in what you said this morning. This damn murderer is one of us. And I think I know which one. Okay. Ever heard of the Lizzie Borden case? In America. Old couple killed with an axe in the middle of the morning. The only person who could have done it was the daughter. A young, respectable, middle-aged spinster. Incredible. So incredible that they acquitted her. They can never find any other explanation.
So the answer to your problem is Miss Emily Brent.
I tell you, that woman is mad as a hatter. Religiously mad. She's the one we must watch.
Really? I formed the conclusion that your suspicions were in a different quarter.
Yes, but I've changed my mind. She's not scared, she's the only one who isn't. Why? Because she knows quite well she's in no danger.
Please make coffee. Ooh, it's cold in here.
You'd hardly believe it when you think what a beautiful day it was this morning.
Are Captain Lombard and Rodgers still out?
Yes, no boat will put out of the nest. You could hardly land anyway.
Miss Brent,
Allow me.
you were right to insist on our going to lunch and drinking some brandy with it. I feel better.
So the court always adjourns for lunch.
All the same, it's a nightmare. It seems as though it can't be true. What are we going to do about it?
We must hold an informal court of inquiry. We may at least be able to eliminate some innocent people.
You haven't had a hunch of any kind, have you, Miss Claythorne?
But if Miss Claythorne suspects one of us three, that's a rather awkward question.
I'm sure it isn't any of you. If you asked me who I suspected, I'd say Dr. Armstrong.
Armstrong?
Yes, because don't you see, he's had far and away the best chance to kill Mrs. Rodgers. Terribly easy for him as a doctor to give her an overdose of that sleeping stuff.
Yes, but someone else gave her Brent, remember?
Her husband had a good chance of administering a drug.
It isn't Rodgers. He doesn't have the brains to pull off this stunt. Nor the money. Besides, you can see he's scared stiff.
My God, it's something like a storm out there.
No, it's only you. Who did you think it was? Beatrice Taylor?
No, no hope of rescue until the storm dies down. You make coffee? Oh, good. Taking a liking to coffee now, you see.
Such restraint in the face of danger is nothing short of heroic.
No, I do not profess to be a weather prophet, but it seems unlikely that both could reach us in the next 24 hours, even if it gave up light. I mean, if the wind were to die down, the sea has yet to drop.
You're awfully wet.
Is anyone a swimmer? Would it be possible to swim to the mainland?
It's over a mile, and in this sea you'd be dashed on the rocks and drowned.
Beg your pardon.
After dinner, then.
Apparently cold in here.
I could light a fire if you'd like.
That'd be a good idea.
It's a sound scheme, Rodgers.
Excuse me, but does anybody know what's become of the top half of the curtain?
Oh, Rodgers, don't tell me you've gone bats now, too.
The bathroom curtain.
Yes, sir. Scarlet oil silk. It's missing.
Has anyone seen the scarlet oil silk curtain? No? Sorry, Rodgers.
It doesn't matter, sir. Only I just thought of it as it was odd.
Everything on this island is odd.
I'll get some steaks and a few knobs of coal and get a nice fire going.
I wonder if he'd like some coffee. He's very wet. Rodgers? Rodgers?
Say, what's become of Armstrong?
He's gone to his room today.
I suspect somebody's probably battered him by now.
I suppose he had the good sense to bolt his doors.
It won't be so easy now that we're on our guard.
And I wouldn't be too optimistic. I think it's time that we take some certain safety precautions. Against who? Well, against each other. The 10 of us that came to this island, 3 of which are definitely fled. Now there are only 7 of us left. 7 little soldier boys.
One of whom is a bogus little soldier boy.
Exactly.
Well, in spite of what Miss Claythorne said just now, I'd say that you, Sir Lawrence, and Dr. Armstrong are above suspicion. He's a well-known doctor, and you're known all over England.
That proves nothing, Mr. Blore. Doctors have done that before, so have judges, so have police people.
Here, did you want some coffee?
Oh, he'd rather make himself a nice cup of tea. What about Dr. Armstrong? Do you think we ought to take him up a cup?
I can take it up if you like.
No, I'll go. I'd like to change.
Oh, yes, you ought to. You'll catch a cold.
Well, I think Armstrong would prefer to see me. He might not admit you. Be afraid of your revolver.
Ah, yes, that revolver. I'd like to have a word with you about that.
Do go and change.
What is it, Blore?
I'd like to know why you brought a revolver when it's supposed to be a little social business.
Like I said, I've been in some tight places, and it's a good feeling having a revolver by your side. Don't you agree?
We don't carry them. Now then, I'd like the truth about this gun.
What a damn suspicious fellow you are, Blore!
I know a fishy story when I hear one.
It's about this revolver I like to hear what you have to say.
Alright, fine. Just like you, I got a letter from Mr. and Mrs. Owen, encouraging me to be a guest on their island. They said they heard I was a good man in tight place. They said that there might be some danger, but I'd be alright as long as I kept my eyes on.
I've never fallen for that.
Well, I did. I was bored. God, was I bored. Back in this tame country, you have to admit it's an intriguing proposition.
Too vague for my liking.
That's why I liked it. It aroused my curiosity.
Curiosity killed the cat.
That it did.
Do go and change, please.
I'm going, my sweet. Maternal instinct, I think it's called.
Don't be ridiculous.
That's a tall story. If it's true, why didn't he tell it to us last night?
This might have been the exact emergency for which he had been preparing for.
Perhaps it is.
Not exactly. This must have just been Mr. Owen's little bit of cheat to get into the trap with the rest of us.
If it's true, he's a wrong in that man. I wouldn't trust him a yard.
Are you such a good judge of truth?
We must get out of here. We must get out before it's too late.
One thing we must not do is give in to nerves.
I'm sorry. Rather case of precision heal myself, but I have been overworked lately and run down. Yes, I keep dreaming. Hospitals, operations, a knife at my throat.
Real nightmare.
Yes. Do you ever dream you in court, sentencing a man to death?
Are you by chance referring to one Edward Seaton? I can assure you I shan't lose any sleep over his death. It is particularly crude and cold-blooded murder. Sure like him. They were inclined to let him off. I could see through that, however. I cooked Seaton's goose.
Cold in here, isn't it?
Oh, I wish Rodgers would hurry up.
Yes, where is Rodgers? Been a long time.
He said he'd got to get some sticks.
Sticks! My God, sticks! My God! Is another one gone? Are there only 6? There are only 5.
5?
Rodgers is not up!
Oh, no!
Roger!
What the hell is Blore off to? He's running like a madman.
Have you seen Rodgers?
No, why should I?
Another 2 have gone. 2?
I thought it was you.
Well, what is it? In the scullery.
Is he?
Yes. He's dead already.
How?
It's been axed. Someone must have got him whilst he was bent over the wood box.
One chopped himself in half, and then there were sticks.
There, come. Go down, please. Boys, what's next? Bees. Do they keep bees on the island? You know the rhyme. 6 little soldier boys playing with a hive, a bee stung one, and then there was 5. We all seem pretty spry. Nothing's wrong with any of us. Except...
No.
A hypodermic syringe.
Modern these things.
While she was sitting there, one of us.
One of us.
Which of us?
Soldier boys sitting in a row, thinking amongst each other, waiting for the blow. New versions up to date.
I hardly think this is the moment for facetiousness.
Oh, I'm sorry, Doctor. Had to lift the gloom somehow. The damn electrical plant running down has gotten on my nerves. Say, why don't we play a round game? I call it suspicions. Let's start. Person A suspects person B versus B suspects person C, and so on and so forth. Let's start with you, Blore. It's not hard to see who you suspect. It sticks out for a mile. I'm your fancy on side.
I wouldn't say no to that.
Well, you're wrong. You see, abstract justice isn't my line. If I were to kill, there'd have to be something in it for me.
All I say is you've acted suspiciously from the start. You've told 2 different stories. First you say you've got a revolver, now you say you've lost it.
I have lost it.
That's a likely story.
What do you think I've done with it? I suggested myself to a search, haven't I?
Oh, but you haven't got it on you. You're too clever for that.
You think I've stashed it somewhere for next time?
Shouldn't be surprised.
Why don't you use your brains, Blore? If I wanted to, I could have killed you lot already. Pop, 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 pop.
Yes, but that's not the big idea.
The crazy touch? Man, I'm sane enough.
The doctor says there's some lunatics who never know we're lunatics. That's true enough, I'd say. We can't just sit here doing nothing. Surely there must be something we could do. If we lit a bonfire
in this weather. It's a matter of time and patience. Surely the weather will die down, and then we can do something. Like a bonfire, heliograph, signal, something.
A matter of time? We don't have time. We shall all be dead.
The precautions we have taken would be adequate.
I tell you, we shall all be dead. All but one. He'll think of something else. He's thinking now.
Oh, girl. What was the name? Please? Was it your nerves that made you do her in, Doctor?
No. Drink. I used to be quite a heavy drinker. God help me, I was shook when I operated. My hand shaking all over the place. I can remember her now. She was a big, heavy, countrified woman.
So I was right. That's how it was.
Her sister knew, of course, but she was still loyal to me. Or to the hospital. I gave up drink. I gave it up altogether.
and went in for a study of nervous diseases.
Very successful.
1 or 2 lucky shots. Good results with 1 or 2 important women. They talked to their friends for the last year or 2, and I've hardly known where to turn. I climbed to the top of the tree.
Until Mr. Unknown Owen, and down came the doctor, cradle and all.
Will you stop your terrible stereotyping?
Gentlemen! Gentlemen, we can't afford to quarrel.
Fine by me, I apologize.
It's just terrible activity that's gotten on my nerves.
We've all subjected to a search, therefore we know that no one has any knives or any revolvers on them, nor does any person have any drugs or any poison. Therefore, as long as we all remain in sight of one another, we are perfectly fine. Nothing can happen.
But we can't go on like this. We shall need food, sleep.
That's what I say.
You're awfully silent, Vera.
There isn't anything to say. I wonder what the time is. It's this awful waiting for the hours to go by, and yet feeling that they may be the last. What is the time?
It's 8:30.
Is that all?
It's pretty awful light with the storm, no? How are candles holding out?
There's a low pack. Storm's dying down a bit. What do you think, sir?
I don't think we should be too optimistic.
Murder's got everything on his side. Even the weather seems to be falling into his plans.
What about something to eat?
If you'd like, I'll go and open some tongue and make some coffee. But you four stay here. That's right, isn't it?
Not quite, Miss Claythorne. You see, it might be unwise to do something that someone else has prepared outside our sight.
You don't like me, do you?
Well, it's not a matter of likes and dislikes.
There's not many tricks that could pass you, Sir Lawrence. You know, without offense, I would say you're my fancy.
This is hardly the time for any of us, Captain Lombard, to indulge in the luxury of taking offense.
Don't think it's Blore. Don't think he's got the imagination for the job. And if it is you, Blore, I take my hat off to you for being a damn fine actor.
Thank you for nothing.
Don't think it's the doctor. Don't think he's got the nerve. You've got plenty of nerve, don't you, doctor? And Vera, you strike me as eminently sane. Therefore, you wouldn't commit a murder unless there was something in it for you.
Oh, thank you.
I thought of something.
Oh, great. What is it? Animal, vegetable, mineral?
That man there says he's a police officer, but we've no proof of that. He only said so after the gramophone record gave out his name. Before that, he was pretending to be a South African millionaire.
Oh, please, he's a cop, all right? Look at his feet.
That's enough of you, Mr. Long.
Well, now we know where we are, don't we? By the way, Doctor, Vera suspects you. Oh, yes, she does. Haven't you seen her shoot a dirty look at you from time to time? It all works out quite well. Blore suspects me, you suspect Blore, Vera suspects you. And what about yourself, Sir Lawrence?
Well, earlier today I came to the conclusion that all of the events that transpired pointed to one particular person. I'm still of the same opinion.
Which one?
Well, no. I think it would be inadvisable to say so.
Advisable to public interest?
Exactly.
What about this food idea?
No, we're safe here,
I can't say I'm hungry.
I'm not ravenous myself, but you can go have a guzzle on your own, Blore.
Tell you what, suppose I go and get us a tin of biscuits.
Good idea. Hey, Blore.
Eh?
I'm open the tin, Blore. Just a storm. It's making the curtains rattle.
The curtains. I wonder what happened to the bathroom curtain, the one that Rodgers missed.
With the wildest stretch of imagination, I cannot begin to believe what a murderous lunatic would want with a red oil silk curtain.
Things do seem to have been disappearing. Miss Brent lost a skein of knitting wool.
All right, so the murderer, whoever he or she is also a kleptomaniac.
How does it go? 5 little soldier boys.
Going in for law. One got in chancery.
In chancery, yes, but how could that apply? Unless, of course.
Yes, my dear. That's why I'm sitting right here.
Ah, yes, but I'm casting you as the role of murderer and not victim.
And that term can apply to a boxer.
Oh, yes, that's a good idea. Let's start a free fight. That seems to let you out, my dear.
That awful rhyme, it keeps going round and round in my head. I think I'll remember it till I die. Mr. Blore's a long time.
Oh, I suspect the big bad wolf has gotten him.
Mr. Lombard,
I've asked you once before to stop your terrible sense of humor.
Oh, I'm sorry. It must be a form of nervousness.
Censor.
Thumbs up.
No, thank you.
Come on, you haven't had any dinner.
I couldn't eat anything.
I warn you, Law will wolf a lot.
I don't see why you need to be so funny about it. Starving ourselves won't do us any good. How are we off for cigarettes?
Let me check. All out.
Last one.
Like a pipe smoker.
I've got a whole box upstairs in my suitcase. I'll fetch them. I could do with a cigarette myself. See that you all stay where you are.
Not bad, these biscuits.
What are they? Cheese?
Cheese and celery.
That girl ought to eat.
Her nerves seem to be in a terrible state.
Well, I disagree, Doctor. To me, she's a very calm, resourceful young lady. She'd be capable of anything.
That's her idea? She's the guilty party?
A woman? Hardly likely.
Well, I think me and you have very different views on women, Doctor.
What does anyone say to a spot of whiskey?
That's a good idea, Blore. Just provided we tackle an unopened bottle.
What's that?
Phillip, where are you? I've lost you.
Vera! I'm here!
No, why can't we have some light? It's awful in the dark. You don't know where you are. You don't know where anyone is.
The damn drop from the stairs. Here, I have my light.
Where's Dr. Armstrong?
I'm hunting for the matches.
Forget matches, give more candles!
Oh, I was horrified to death. It went right around my throat.
What did?
The window was open in my room, and it blew out the candle as I opened the door, and then a long strand of seaweed wrapped around my throat. I thought in the dark that I was being strangled by a white hand.
I don't wonder you screamed.
Who hung the seaweed there?
I don't know, but when I find them, you'll wish you was never born!
Who's that?
It's all right, Miss Claythorne, it's only me. Here we are. Who fired that shot?
He's dead. Shot through the head.
One got in chancery, and then there were four.
Vera.
You got me out of the way. You got me to go upstairs for cigarettes. You put that seaweed there. You did it all so you could kill that helpless old man in the dark. You're mad, all of you crazy. That's why you wanted the red curtain and the manual. It was all planned long ago for that. Oh my God, let me get out of here!
Three little soldier boys sitting in a row, thinking as they guzzle, who's the next to go?
Phillip,
It's all right, Miss Claythorne. I don't mind joking on a full stomach.
I must say I was hungry, but all the same I don't think I shall ever fancy tinned tongue again.
I was wanting that meal.
We've
I
been,
feel it, man.
we've been almost 24 hours without food. That does lower morale.
Somehow in the daylight everything seems different.
Yes, but you mustn't forget there's a homicidal lunatic loose somewhere on this island.
Yes, why is it one doesn't feel jittery about it anymore?
Because now we know without a shadow of a doubt who it is, hey, Lord.
That's right.
At first, there was an uncertainty, looking at each other, wondering which.
I said all along it was Dr. Armstrong.
That you did, my dear. Until you went back and started accusing all of us.
Seems rather silly in the light of day, doesn't it?
Very silly.
Allowing it is Armstrong. What's happened to him?
Well, we know what he wants us to think.
What exactly did you find?
One shoe. Just one shoe sitting prettily on the cliff's edge. Ergo, Dr. Armstrong has gone completely off his onion and committed suicide.
All very circumstantial. Down to one little China soldier, broken over there in the doorway.
I think that was rather overdoing it. A man wouldn't think of doing that if he was going to drown himself.
Yes, but we're pretty sure he didn't drown himself. He just wanted to make it appear as though he did, like he was the seventh victim, all according to plan.
So Suppose he isn't dead?
I'm a little suspicious of death without bodies.
How extraordinary to think that there are 5 dead bodies in there, and we've been eating tin to tongue.
Ah, the feminine disregard for the facts. There are 6 dead bodies, not 5.
Oh no, she's right. There are only 5.
Listen here. Marston, that's 1. Miss Brent, that's 2. Miss Rodgers is 3. General MacKenzie 4. Miss Brent 5. Wargrave 6.
7, 8, 9. Armstrong 10. You're right, old man. I'm sorry.
Say, wouldn't it be an idea if we moved Miss Rodgers down to the morgue too?
I'm a detective, not an undertaker.
For heaven's sake, stop talking about bodies. The point is Armstrong murdered them.
How do you think Armstrong got hold of your revolver?
I have the slightest idea.
Tell me exactly, what did you find in the night?
Well, after you threw a fit of hysterics and locked yourself in your room, we all thought we'd better go to bed. So we all went to bed and locked ourselves in our rooms.
Then, about an hour later, I had noise. I went to Blore's room. He was in there all right. Then I went to Armstrong's. He was gone. Went to your room, told you to sit tight. Came down here to find the balcony door slightly ajar, with my gun laying right beside it.
Why the devil would Armstrong chuck that revolver away?
No idea. Either accident or he's mad.
Where do you think he is now?
Hiding somewhere, waiting to take a crack at one of us.
Well, then we ought to search the house.
What? And walk into an ambush?
Oh, I never thought of that.
The best thing for us to do right now is to sit tight, take no risks.
Look here. I want to go after that fella.
What a dog of the bulldog breed you are, Blore! You know, now that old Wargrave's gone, between us friends, you did get that little spot of perjury, didn't you?
Well, I don't suppose we're making odds now. Landowner's innocent, all right.
What?
The gang squared me, and between us, we put him away for a stretch. Mind you, I would admit it now.
You think we're in the same boat?
Well, I couldn't admit it in front of Mr. Justice Wargrave, could I?
No, hardly.
I say, that fellow see me. Do you think he was innocent?
Without a doubt. Wargrave had his reasons for wanting him put away. You know, Blore, I'm glad you came off your virtuous perch. I'm glad you made your little bit out of it, too.
Nothing like I ought to have done. They're a mean lot, that penny gang. I got my promotion.
And Landor got penile servitude and died in Gal.
I couldn't tell he was going to die, could I?
No, that was your bad luck.
His, you mean?
Yours, too. Because of that fact, your life may become unpleasantly short.
What? Me? By Armstrong? I'll watch it.
You better. There's only 3 little soldier boys left.
Well, what about you?
Oh, I'll be fine. I've been in stickier situations than this one. And besides, I got my revolver.
Ah, yes, that revolver. Now listen, you said you just found it lying down there. What's the proof you haven't had it on you all this time?
Same old gramophone record. There's no room in your head for any more than one idea, is there, Blore?
No, but it's a good idea.
And you're sticking to it?
And I would have thought of a better story than that if I were you.
I just wanted something as simple that a policeman like you could understand.
What's wrong with the police?
Well, now that you've left the force, nothing!
Now look here, Captain Lombard. If you're an honest man as you pretend...
None of us are honest men, Blore!
If you're telling the truth for once, you want to do the square thing and chuck that revolver down there!
Don't be an ass.
I said I'll go looking for the house for Armstrong, haven't I? If I'm willing to do that, will you lend me your revolver?
It's my revolver, I'm sticking to it.
And do you know what I'm beginning to think?
You're not beginning to think anything! You square-headed flathead! You thought it last night, and now you thought it again! That I am the only unknown Mr. Owen!
I won't contradict you.
All right then, well, I warn you!
Come now, I think you're both behaving like a pair of children.
Sorry, teacher.
Of course, Captain Lombard isn't the unknown. The unknown Owen is Armstrong. And I'll tell you one very good proof of it.
Oh, what?
Think of the rhyme. 4 little soldier boys going out to sea, a red herring swallowed one, and then there were 3. Don't you see the subtlety of it? A red herring. That's Armstrong's pretended suicide, but it's only a red herring, so really, he isn't dead.
That's very ingenious.
To my mind, it's absolute proof. You see, it's all mad because he's mad. He takes a queer, childish, crazy pleasure in sticking to the rhyme and making everything happen in that way. Dressing up the judge, killing Rodgers while he was chopping sticks, using a hypodermic needle on Miss Brent when he just as well could have drugged her.
He's got to make it all fit in.
And that might give us a point. Where do we go from here? 3 little soldier boys walking to a zoo. A big bear humped one. And we're 2. The jump at that one. And there's no zoo on the island. I say, Captain Lombard, what about a nice bottle of beer?
Oh, Lord, this craving for food and drink will be the death of you.
But there's plenty of beer on the island.
Yes, where we're the first place killer one put a lethal dose of something and a nice bottle of beer.
What's that? What's that, a bar? A bar!
Lord got this.
How?
A wire attached to the door.
Is he?
Dead? Yes. His head is crushed by a giant bronze bear statue holding a clock!
Bear? Oh, how ghastly! It's this awful childishness!
I know. God, what a fool Blore was!
So now there are 2.
It's fine. It's fine. We're fine. We'll be fine. Don't worry.
Don't you feel it now that there's someone in this room
Vera.
watching us, watching and waiting?
It's just nerves.
Then you do feel it.
No, I don't.
Please, Phillip, let's get out of here. Anywhere. Perhaps if it was a boat, they'll see us.
All right. We'll go to the top of the island. On the right side, it's all sheer cliffside.
Anything's better than staying here.
I said, wouldn't you be rather cold in that dress?
I'd be colder if I were dead.
Perhaps that's true. I'll be back. Quick reconnaissance.
Be careful, Phillip, please.
Vera!
Yes?
There's something washed up on the shoreline!
What? It looks like a body.
I'm gonna go check it out.
Armstrong's body.
Armstrong! Drowned at the high tide.
So there's no one on the island. No one at all except us 2.
Yes, Vera. Now we know where we are!
Now we know where we are.
That was a pretty little trick of yours, that wire. You know, old Wargrave always knew you would change.
You!
So you did drown that kid after all!
I did! Please believe me, please.
Who did?
A man!
Oh.
Peter's uncle.
Oh,
I was in love with him.
Oh, this is interesting.
Don't sneer, it was hell. Absolute hell. Peter was born after his father's death. If he'd been a girl, he would have got everything.
The well-known tale of the wicked uncle.
Yes, he was wicked, and I didn't know. He said he loved me, but that he was too poor to marry.
Oh.
And there was a rock farm that Peter was always wanting to swim to, and of course I wouldn't let him. It was dangerous. One day we were on the beach, and I had to go back to the house for something I'd forgotten. When I got back, I saw Peter swimming out to the rock. I knew he hadn't a chance. The current had got him already.
Oh, please, keep going.
I flew towards the beach, and Hugh tried to stop me. Don't be a fool, he said. I told the little ass he could do it. I pushed past him, and he tried to stop me, but I got away. I rushed down and plunged into the sea and swam after Peter, but I couldn't get there in time.
And of course, the inquest went over, and they called you a plucky girl. And you kept quiet about Hugh's part in the business, didn't you?
Do you think anyone would have believed me? Besides, I couldn't. I really was in love with him.
I suppose Hugh let you down.
Think I ever wanted to see him again?
Well, you certainly are an accomplished liar, Vera.
Can't you believe the truth when you hear it?
Who set that trap for Blore? I did it, and Armstrong is dead! You know, I've broken many of the commandments in my time, but there is one thing I will not stand for, and that is murder!
You won't stand for murder. What about those natives you left to die in Africa?
I was so damn funny, I did it!
What do you mean?
For For once in your life, mark you, I played the hero. I risked my own life to save the lives of my men. I gave them everything I had, my food, my rifle, my ammunition, and I took a chance through the brush. And by the most incredible luck it came off. But it wasn't in time to save them. And when rumors got around that I deliberately abandoned my own men, there is life for you.
You expect me to believe that? You just admitted the whole thing.
I know. And God, was it so funny to see the looks on all their faces.
You can't fool me with a stupid lie like that.
Blast you!
Why didn't I see it before? It's there in your face, the face of a killer.
You can't fool me any longer.
Now!
You cheeky little devil.
Take one step nearer, and I'll shoot.
You, young, lovely, and quite mad.
Oh no, please, I'm sorry.
My rhyme! My rhyme! It's almost come true! My take on the soldier's back! Silence in the fort! If there is any more noise, I shall have this fort cleared!
It's okay, my dear. It's the court of justice.
You get justice.
He thought I was a ghost. He thought I was dead. Armstrong! He said I was dead. That was the clever part of my plan. Said we'd trap the murderer. We'd fix my supposed death so I should be free to spy upon the guilty one. He came out to meet me that night, you know, on the cliff. I sent him over with a push. So easily. He swallowed my red herring all right. You know, all my life, I've wanted to take life. Yes, to take life. Perhaps to get what enjoyment I could out of sentencing the guilty to death. But it wasn't enough! I wanted to do it with my own hands. But the judge of the High Court, as between the sovereign Lord our Savior and the prisoner at the bar, will true deliverance make. Guilty, my lord. Yes, guilty. We were all guilty. But the law couldn't touch me. It's why I have to take matters into my own hands. Into my own hands! Silence in the court!
No, please.
Marston first, then Mrs. Rodgers, Barber in the brand, got MacKenzie with the knife. Rodgers, when he was chopping sticks, choked Emily Brent's coffee so she couldn't feel the hypodermic. Then, booby trap for Blore. Blore was a fool. Always knew it'd be easy to get Blore. And the turning out of Walter was a clever touch. It made things interesting. I knew you two would suspect each other. Question was, who'd win a tap? I banked on you, my dear, the female species. Besides, it's always more exciting to have a girl at the end. Vera Elizabeth Claythorne, I sentence you to death! They all say that! They all must be not guilty unless, of course, the way out of the verdict and insanity. But you're not mad! I'm mad. You're not.
You'll never get away with it.
But I shan't be around to find out. I shall be dead, neatly in my chair, shot through the head, in accordance with the record kept by my fellow victims. Pointed out to the last detail. See, using that revolver and taking great care to preserve your fingerprints, I shall tie this cord round the trigger and attach it to my spectacles. To elasticate it, you see, to loop around the door handle, and using the weight of my body on the spectacles, I shall pull the trigger. The door will ajar, and the revolver will recoil. Then, when the seas drop, there will come men. They will find 10 dead bodies in an unsolved problem. Soldier Island. But, first things first.
No, please, please, I dare kill that child. You're a judge, you know when someone's guilty and when they're innocent, I swear. I'm telling the truth.
No, you were one of the last of my guests to be recruited. I happened to be crossing the Atlantic place one night, and there was the sole occupants of the smoking room were myself and a good-looking young man. He was in a very morbid and confidential state, and taking quite a considerable amount of drink. He told me the most intriguing story. I can remember his words now. I've known a murderess. Known her, I tell you. And what's more, I was crazy about her. She wouldn't think a girl like that, a nice, straight, jolly girl, would take a kid out to sea and let it drown. Naturally, I had to be certain. So I asked if he was sure, and he said, quite sure. I knew from the moment I looked at her. She did it for me.
Please, I didn't kill
Now you've got to get Lombard, haven't you? How does it feel to be guilty? To be a murderer? You liked her, didn't you? Do you have anything to say on why your sentence should not be passed? That's spoiled my rhyme. My telling little soldier boy's rhyme. One little soldier boy left all alone. He went and hanged himself. You're the last one. I must have my hanging. I must. This is my life. I must pay for the crimes you committed. For Lombard. For that little boy. One little soldier boy, left all alone. He went and hanged himself. And then there were none.